Approaching the bottom of the hour, we're back on Get Up. We're presented by ESPN Bet Sportsbook on this Football Friday, and RC is here on this Championship Sunday.
Yep.
Let's do a championship edition of Game Breakers. We'll give me one player to watch from each of the four teams.
Obviously, the quarterbacks are ultimately important in all of these games, but for the Buffalo Bills, to me, it's going to be what can Khalil Shakir do? I thought he was huge against the Kansas City Chiefs early on in this season. You see here a big catch against the Buffalo Bills, but they're going to play a ton of man coverage. If you're the Kansas City Chiefs, Steve Spagnuolo defense, I believe Khalil Shakir is the one guy that can get open, the one guy that can create plays with the football in his hands, and I know that Josh Allen will be looking for him.
Okay, so we have an eye on him. How about on the other side of that game?
Well, I mean, I think this would make sense. Let's talk about Trent McDuffie. Trent McDuffie last week gives up about 4 or 5 inches to Nico Collins, but he followed him all over the field, continued to come up with huge plays. The reason he's big this week against the Buffalo Bills is he can also slide inside, and so if the Bills want to get in some of those bunches and stacks where they're having rub routes and picks, Trent McDuffie is a guy who can sift his way through some of those things.
There was that one moment where it looked like he was hurt, and you thought to yourself, this could absolutely destroy them.
If you were the Houston Texans, that would actually be best case scenario for you so you can free up your number one receiver.
Okay, so that's the AFC side. Let's go to the NFC and the Eagles.
So I'm looking at the Eagles, and it's going to be A.J. Brown. Listen, he's been reading inner excellence, but as Mina Kimes once said, he needs some outer excellence, right? He's going to have to show up, especially because defensive coordinator Joe Witt is going to try to stop the run with Saquon Barkley. So he'll get some of these one-on-one matchups we see right here with Marshawn Lattimore. I thought he won that battle in the last meeting between these two. He'll have to do the same thing.
Well, and you pointed out earlier, the numbers are what the numbers are. He had some opportunities last week.
He had opportunities last week. He drops a dig early on in the game, and there's also a back shoulder throw later that could have been a touchdown.
And then my favorite, the Commanders, my favorite name in the NFL.
Frankie Louvu.
Louvu.
This is a guy that they bring over in the offseason, a former undrafted player who has just become an absolute star. Ended up being a second-team All-Pro, and I love the way that they utilize him defensively. He penetrates in the run. He's the extra blitzer in sub packages, but he also is a cover guy and a downhill second-level linebacker. And I think that Frankie Louvu can truly impact this game, especially if Jalen Hurts is hobbled.
On that defensive side. On the offensive side, obviously, for the Commanders, it's all about the kid. It's all about Jayden Daniels. And I want to go back through the mists of time, all the way to a week ago today. In the hot take time machine, Ryan Clark said this.
He's immortal. It's the greatest rookie season of all time. And the other piece of it is this, though. There will never be one that equals it. If he finds a way to beat the Detroit Lions in a game, if I'm being honest, that should not be close.
Right.
He is 100% the greatest rookie to ever play in this league.
What's amazing how prescient you were. It wasn't that close. It just wasn't.
It wasn't that close.
On the side.
It was okay, Green.
It wasn't on the.
They had a lot of picks.
It was on the other side. So I mean, what do we say? The kid went in there, and all I heard, Graziano. I mean, you were at the Lions game against the Vikings, right, or whatever, and you were telling me how wild the scene is, how wild the stadium is.
He doesn't care.
The unrattledness, which is definitely not a word in the English language, but it's all I can think of that kid in that game blew my mind.
Yeah, and I think it's like Neo, right, in the Matrix, when Morpheus is like, he's starting to believe. This kid's always believed, and I think now his team understands how important he is. You know, you think about the amount of times this team goes for it on 4th down, it's because of Jayden Daniels, and you look at both of these games and how many of their touchdowns have come on drives where they've taken the extra down to give them another series. But the other piece about Jayden Daniels is this. It's not just his poise. It's not just his composure. It's the output, right? It's the production. It's the success. It's the ability to operate a very complex offense that sometimes doesn't even get in the huddle because he can direct and put people where they need to be along with the football. What we've seen him do is amazing, and I believe because of him, they can take the next step and become a Super Bowl team.
It is the best rookie season that any quarterback has ever had. I did a list yesterday of the 5 best rookie seasons ever. It goes with Randy Moss and Lawrence Taylor and Jim Brown. It's literally that. Now, Bartholomew Scott, the pride of the 313. We all understand.
We're hurting right now.
Home in Detroit.
We'll be back.
But when you watched that, I mean, what do we say? I'm running out of things to say about Jayden Daniels and what he's doing as a rookie.
I think we have to start giving Cliff Kingsbury a lot of credit as well. You heard Ryan allude to a little bit about going forward on 4th down, to believe in your quarterback. Because if you don't get it on 4th down, that's equivalent to a turnover. So you talk about, last week there were 3 or 4, but then also got the stat from Hembo, in the playoffs, they've gone no huddle 83 out of the 142 times. So what does that do? That takes the thinking out for him, right? Because it allows him just to react. We used to see when Ben Roethlisberger went into no huddle mode, he would go into this trance where he just becomes super efficient because you don't worry about everything and you just react. And, this guy has some of the best football instincts that I've seen from any football player, let alone a rookie. And I think you have to give Cliff Kingsbury a lot of credit for being able to take the gray out, and that it makes the defense be vanilla, because when teams go no huddle, we have vanilla defenses and we aren't that aggressive. We got 4 or 5 default calls. Right.
Yeah. Not only is his instinct, I thought it was his poise, guys. Here they are playing Detroit, home field advantage, incredibly loud situation. First series, no huddle. I thought the moxie and the confidence that Cliff Kingsbury, look at this drive. There was no, hey, he's a rookie, we're going to ease into it. It's really remarkable. You talk about Cliff Kingsbury. I think between him and Jayden Daniels, to have the confidence in this environment to go no huddle, Greedy, from the first snap, it goes back to me, 55 games played in college. It has never been too big for him going back to minicamp, training camp, and I don't expect anything different in the championship game.
But he's going to be ready for the moment. I don't think there's any question about it. What were you going to say?
But here's the strategy of it, right? Because now the crowd can't be loud because defense can't communicate, because now you got different formations. You go no huddle, and now we have to go to either a basic zone, which allows the quarterback to just dink and dunk you away, and it forces you to be able to go to those defaults. You might have one linebacker blitz in that package when you go to your default call.
But to be clear, I think that's an interesting thought most people wouldn't think of. That crowd noise, which is designed to impact the offense, it actually winds up working against your home team defense.
I think when you look at Washington, you go back a year, right? Like all these teams that are out here hiring coaches. Commanders fans were crushed that they ended up with Dan Quinn. They felt like they settled, they missed all their top choices.
Commanders was crushed.
Right?
Yeah.
Like they were upset. They were disappointed. Felt like it. So what did they do? Like he brings in Kingsbury because they know they're going to have a rookie quarterback. He and Adam Peters, the GM, they bring in Super Bowl champion veterans. Bobby Wagner, Zach Ertz. Guys who are going to sit in the locker room and show the other guys on the team how important it is to get behind the rookie quarterback, the leader. And then, of course, you bring in the quarterback himself, who turns out to be more than I think any of them ever expected right away. Like an absolute superstar as a leader. Somebody guys are going to want to follow. It's a perfect storm, but they built an absolutely fantastic environment for him, and he is thriving in it.
Okay, I need to bring in our surprise. Don't pop him up yet, Cindy. Don't pop him up. I want to make this a special introduction. So the Commander story is a bigger story. It's about more than a season. It's about more than just 1 year. It's more even than just about Jayden Daniels. It is about a franchise that has been as downtrodden as any in sports for the last 30 years. We all understand the ownership situation and everything else that has gone on there, to the point that this foundational franchise in the NFL, they've become irrelevant, almost impossible to root for. But a few of their most loyal fans have stuck by them. A few have been there every week.
I know who this
is. One of those is the man we call Commander Tim.
I know.
There he is. Tim Legler. No one I know. I'm not happier for anyone than I am for Tim Legler right now. Legs, can you? I invited you on this morning to speak on behalf of the fans of this franchise. Can you describe what all of this means to the loyal fans of this long-time franchise?
Well, Greeny, I think the best way I could sum this up is we are in late January talking about the Commanders, and we are not talking about who they should hire, what their draft pick is going to be, right? What free agents they should go after. That's typically the only time the Commanders come up in January. So listen, this has taken me back. I'm not exaggerating here. I will say I got here quicker emotionally than I was really prepared for to be on this stage, one game from the Super Bowl. But this has taken me back, like this run, this season, to exactly where I was in one of the best decades of my life, from mid-'80s to the mid-'90s. And that's exactly how I feel emotionally about this team now. It's given me so much joy. Our fan base, and all the suffering we have done for 33 years to know that this is our quarterback going forward. This is our team. I can't tell you how euphoric we all are.
And Jayden in particular, I can't picture what it would be like we all know what team I root for. This has never happened to me.
It's like if everything you felt before Aaron Rodgers actually played a game happened.
Exactly. And he was 23 instead of 41. So Tim, how would you describe what Jayden Daniels means to the fans of the Washington Commanders?
Well, I think, honestly, every time I watch him play, and it really started for me early, and I was listening to all you guys, the brightest minds in the world work for us, and I know a lot about football, but those guys sitting there next to you and other guys that we have, I was picking their brains before the draft. You guys all remember this, and it was three quarterbacks at the top. We had the second pick, and I was getting different opinions, but it was pretty much a consensus about Jayden Daniels, so I was excited about the pick. But then when we beat Cincinnati on Monday night early in the year on the road and scored 38 points in that game, which was something for me that was so foreign, to show up on a primetime game and not get embarrassed, right? And to actually, meet the moment. And that's what I was so used to all those years growing up as a fan. And then just nothing but 25 years of embarrassment in big spots. When he played that way that night, that's when I knew for sure as a fan that all of the fans were going to be coming back. And no matter how the season turned out, and obviously this is far deeper of a run than we expected to have at any point in the season, what I say to myself every time I watch him play, I can't believe this is our quarterback. And we're going to have this guy, God willing, if he stays healthy, for the next, I hope the dude plays as long as Brady played. I want 20 plus years of this. That's all I'm saying.
All right, Tim, stay where you are. We'll actually talk a little basketball with Legs as the morning goes on. I wanted him to be able to speak for
Fantastic.
because that's awesome. That's why we do this thing, man. All right, in the meantime, let's go to the NFC game. You had one of the great rookie seasons any quarterback ever had in NFL history. We've seen a few of them. We've never seen anything like this. Jayden Daniels, what do we say about what is at stake for him on Sunday in Philly?
I've been saying this all along. The people who needs to be concerned the most, Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders. The expectation of a rookie quarterback is no longer come in and develop.
Yeah, bro.
And just to be honest, Jayden Daniels, everybody says it on draft night. You get drafted, man, listen, we're going straight to the top. and they go straight to the bottom. And then they ain't even there in 2 years.
Yeah.
But for Jayden Daniels, he's gotten the whole Washington, D.C., the DMV area outside of Baltimore.
Yeah.
He got everybody believing. And the thing about it is, the realist in me understands football enough to say it's just not Jayden Daniels that's doing this.
Yeah.
The football in me knows Terry McLaurin is doing his job.
Yeah.
You got guys, running backs that's going over and beyond, receivers that's making blindfold catches, the defense that's opportunistic and stingy. All those things combining, and now rookie, go be special.
What does the no huddle do for a young quarterback as far as simplifying the looks that you get from the defense?
But it's not about the no huddle. It's about the comfortability of the quarterback in that position. Okay, where did he go? Arizona State, no huddle? Yes. Where did he go? LSU, no huddle? Yes. So Cliff Kingsbury is the person who identifies this, and let's not forget, Kyler Murray has set this league on fire enough to realize, this is a respectable player now. Yeah. When he first got drafted, everybody was like, man, what are we doing here? Yeah. Cliff Kingsbury knew, okay, this is the type of quarterback that I know I can win with because he's my type of guy.
The other piece of the Jayden Daniels thing is he talked about the realist and the football player that understands that other people have to play. To me, it's the belief everybody has in Jayden Daniels. I talked to Zach Ertz and Austin Eckler before the season, and they just kept saying, the kid has it. You talk talk to Dan Quinn. The kid has it. Adam Peters, like, he might be the one. They were saying this in May. And the realist in us understands it too. You put a guy inside a stadium with NFL football players you don't know, but they believed it then. And you saw every single week they put more on him and more on him. And then one week we was like, oh, hell, they can dump everything on his shoulders, and he's carried them.
And so then let's get.
How's it going, everybody? Villa Sports Network here. Just want to thank you guys for your support on the channel. Thank you guys for watching the video. Hope you all enjoyed it. I also want to kind of remind you to don't forget to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment on the video if you like as well. But regardless of the fact, thank you again for your support, and hope to see you on the next video.